Continuing from chapter 8. On the next page was a boo-boo, a giant slug that leaves a poisonous trail of slime in its wake. Then there was the crunkle toad. D was for dum-dum, a cross between a jellyfish and a warthog, and judging by the illustration, even more hideous than it sounds. The next page was F. I'll show you some of the pictures of the different creatures in this monsterpedia. The Meeks took a collective breath, praying that they would find what they were looking for. Fing, exclaimed Mother. Yes, we did it. I could kiss you, said Father. Please don't, not at work, darling. And the library has a strict no canoodling rule. Of course, how silly of me. Would you care to read out what it says? Mrs. Meek cleared her throat and began. Fing, mammal. This, the most rarest of rare beasts, is only found in the deepest, darkest, jungliest jungle. There it is. It's like a big ball of fur. The appearance of the Fing is that of a fur-covered sphere. The size of the beast varies widely. One moment they can be as small as a marble, the next as large as a hot air balloon. Fings have one large eye in the centre and a hole on either side. One hole is a mouth, the other is its bottom. But nobody can be sure which hole is which, not even the Fing itself, which has been known to try to feed using its bottom. Having no arms or legs, Fings move around by rolling or sometimes even bouncing. Strangely enough, a Fing's favourite food is biscuits of the custard cream variety. The Fing beast can devour 100 in seconds, but they will eat almost anything and everything. Fings leave behind a trail of foul-smelling droppings which can be as big, if not bigger, than the creature itself. Warning: never ever keep a Fing in your house. They are the world's worst pets. Fings are greedy, bad-tempered, and sometimes just plain rude. It sounds a lot like Myrtle to me. Because they can grow to epic proportions, they may not just eat you out of house and home, they may very well eat your home. Worst of all, they might even eat you. Doom awaits you. After she had finished reading, they both pored over the picture. The Fing was a peculiar looking thing. The illustration, just as the words had described, showed a ball of brown fur with one eye between two dark holes. Oh dear, said Father. Oh dear indeed, agreed Mother. With that she closed the book. Well, that's the end of that then. There is no way our darling daughter can have a Fing. Poor thing, she is going to be so bitterly disappointed, said Father. I know. Well, I think it's best you break the bad news to her. Me? Yes, Mr. Meek. It's your turn. No, 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 protested Mr. Meek. It is definitely your turn. Let's do it together, reasoned Mrs. Meek. A splendid idea. Thank you. You can go first. They're scared of their own daughter. Seems a bit silly, doesn't it? Chapter 9. Rolled in rabbit droppings. So, with heavy hearts, Mr. and Mrs. Meek picked up their daughter from school. Once again, I mean picked up literally. They picked Myrtle up and carried her all the way home before depositing her as gently as they could on the sofa. Mr. and Mrs. Meek were trying to hide the worry they were feeling at breaking the bad news to their daughter, but it was daubed all over their faces. Perhaps you might like to play a game, Myrtle, my love, suggested Father. Or do a jigsaw, or watch the television. Distraction, distraction, distraction. Cartoons, demanded Myrtle. Here's the remote, said Mother, handing her daughter the chocolate-stained black gadget. Myrtle scowled back at her. You press the button for me, you lazy old moo. Mrs. Meek did what she was told, and a cartoon flickered on the television screen. Myrtle liked the violent ones the best, where animals ran into walls, fell off cliffs, or simply exploded. Her favourite cartoon series were Pigs in Peril, Thumperoo the Thumping Kangaroo, Ants in Your Pants, Crush the Cockroach. With their daughter momentarily distracted by the sight of a cartoon rabbit being flattened by a steamroller, Mr. Meek nodded to his wife. This was her cue. She scurried off to the kitchen. They had a secret plan. The pair hoped that if they gave their daughter the biggest slab of chocolate cake in history, this would soften the blow of her not getting a Fing. The cartoon finished, and as the theme music played, Myrtle remembered what she had forgotten. Where's my Fing? She shouted. Cake, 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 yelled Father. Coming right up, Father, replied Mrs. Meek, staggering into the living room, carrying a stupendous slab of cake. You see that? It's enormous. It was the size of a small garden shed. There you go, Myrtle, my angel, she said, as she set it down on the coffee table. Haven't you got a bigger slice? Demanded the girl. Sadly not, replied Mother. It's bigger than the cake it came from. This, of course, couldn't strictly be true, but it fooled Myrtle. It looks like delicious cake, my beautiful bunnykins. Do tuck in, prompted Father. Not being a regular user of cutlery, Myrtle simply leaned forwards and buried her face in the cake. It was how a hog might enjoy its dinner. Mother and Father sighed with relief. That feeling was sadly not to last. In no time at all, the girl had polished off the giant slab of cake. She lifted her head, her face now covered in chocolate icing. I want my Fing, she repeated, spraying her parents with chocolate cake crumbs as she spoke. Mr. and Mrs. Meek were covered from head to toe. It looked as if they had been rolled in rabbit droppings. Ah, yes, of course. The famous Fing, began Father, before losing his nerve. I will let your mother take over from here. Mrs. Meek shot a look at Mr. Meek, most displeased. He was even meeker than she was. Well, my sweet princess, she began, your father and I found this book deep in the vaults of the library. Listen, growled the girl. I want my Fing, and I want it now. Things were going from bad to worse. The cake hadn't helped at all. If anything, it had given Myrtle a sugar rush that made her even more foul-tempered than usual. Well, you see, the lady spluttered. Father, you can take over from here. Well, well, he began, a look of terror now in his eyes. Spit it out, bawled the girl. My cherub, we searched and searched every book in the library to find out what a Fing is. A Fing is a Fing, duh, mocked Myrtle. Quite. We found only one reference to it in the whole of the library, in this dusty old book that we discovered down in the secret underground vaults. Here. Father nodded to Mother, who lumbered over with the ancient book. "It's called the Monsterpedia," said Mrs. Meek. "Have a look. It's fascinating reading." Mother went to pass the book to her daughter, but the book actually pushed back. "I hate books. They make my brain hurt," Myrtle exclaimed, batting the Monsterpedia away with her hand. Thump! The book slapped her back. Whack! "Ouch!" screamed the girl. "Get that thing away from me." Mother took hold of the book. "Let me help you, Sugar Plum Fairy." Mother flicked through the dusty old book and opened it at the right page. "This, my rainbow child, is a Fing. Have a read." "You read it," ordered Myrtle. Mrs. Meek proceeded to read aloud from the book, placing particular emphasis on this particular part. "Warning, never ever keep a Fing in your house. They are the world's worst pets." "So, my dove of love," prompted Mother, "what do you think? Surely, surely, surely you don't want a Fing now?" The pair looked longingly at their daughter, their hands glued together in prayer. Oh my goodness, so what do you think? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think Myrtle will have changed her mind and won't want a Fing anymore? We'll have to find out next time. Okay, bye.